Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today we're talking about the Kizer Fiest. Alright guys, this is the Kizer Fiest. It is a Lundquist design, Justin Lundquist, and it's an interesting little knife. Let's before I start griping about it, let's say first, thank you to Stazza23 for sending it up here and letting me complain about it. And let's jump into the dimensions. First up, we've got 3.71 for a closed length, a nice skinny 0.43 for thickness, and a nice short 0.91 for height. As far as your small carry-it pocket knife, especially something to float down in your pocket, this thing has the numbers for sure. It absolutely does. And what do we get? Well, we get grade 5 titanium, that's 6AL4V, for those of you that don't know about the grades, and stainless hardware. And I need to get this guy out, and we need a T6, don't we? Alright, I don't have the long T6s over here right now, so you just have to watch the knurling on not the greatest T6, and these are Weehaw bits. I'll show you that here in just a second. But they're deep, so they're not the worst. Not by any stretch of the imagination, but... And there we go, let's see. Yep. Weehaw. These are just a short set of Weehaw bits. That's a T8. And there's our play in the pivot. Not the greatest hardware out there. And that pivot's pretty loose. I'm going to give that a D-. The other screws, oh, they're kind of probably a B+. They're not awful, but they could be better. So let's get a look at this blade. And our blade is 2.81 inches with an edge length of 2.7 made out of .120 stock. That's 3mm. And get a look at this. This is the star of the knife for sure. It is beautiful in my opinion. We have just a beautiful grind. Oh my god, I love this grind. That is just beautiful. I love the stonewash they put on it. That is rivaling Wee's stonewash, that really, really tight stonewash that they do. I love that stonewash, and this is right up there with it. I like the fact that they did not billboard up this thing, but they got their branding on it. That is a thing that we're going to talk about sometime soon. I want my knife to be branded. I want to know who made it whenever I pick it up, whether it's on the pivot or on the blade. I don't like a completely generic knife, because I can pick up a completely generic knife over at the gas station. Anyhow, we've got S35VN and the model number up there, and really small Arial type text or regular type text. We have Fiest on this side with Justin Lundquist name, and that's it. And that just makes for a beautiful blade. It's all crowned, got a little jimping back here. Jimping's useless, but it's there. A little jimping right here. Again, kind of useless, but it's there. And let's get some size comparison out of the way. Let's get a couple of our standards out here, and then we're going to go to some others. We have a Delica here. The Delica is a little bigger, of course. Not much more blade, though. There's our Buck 110, which is, of course, much bigger. And now let's get to some things that are a little closer in size. Here's one we're going to be reviewing here real quick. This is a Best Tech Zen, which is really one size class below. It's not that much smaller, but it is enough smaller to make it a size class below. There's our model, Rat Model 2 and D2, and that's really close to the same size class, but the Rat Model 2 is considerably bigger. Where this Fiest really falls in is your jack pattern standard traditional knife. And these two knives are very much in line with each other on many, many things. And we'll see this knife again here in a minute as we're doing the comparisons. Even the blades are somewhat similar. And that's one thing I didn't notice or didn't mention. I call this thing a drop point. You could call it a sheep's foot. You could call it a lot of things. You know, blade shape naming anymore is kind of tough because of, well, there's so many shapes out there, and so many of them are so much like, you know, it's just a mess. Anyhow, we're going to go to our pause and read card, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, mechanically what we have inside this knife is what you would find on any other modern EDC knife. We've got a hardened steel lock bar insert, ceramic detent ball, ceramic bearings. I don't remember if this thing had hardened washers in it or not. You have to look at the what's inside video, because I just don't remember. And the one thing this knife has that I am not a fan of is, and you can see this in the what's inside video, it has a floating stop pin, goes through the blade. And what do I mean by floating? Okay, well, if you take this knife, which also has a internal stop pin going through the blade, now you can kind of see it right there. That stop pin is pressed in there. You know, I don't know if they just pressed it in, or if they, you know, heated the blade, or they super cooled the pin, but somehow they got an interference fit, and that means that that pin is not coming out. Now, if you watch the what's inside video of this knife, that pin falls right out of there. That was Mr. Lundquist's design, and he requested that from Kizer. I don't like it. If I'm going to wear something out on this knife, it's going to be the titanium. That is the softest material in this knife. So why do I need the stop pin to fall out? Just doesn't make sense to me. If somebody has a good reason for it, put it down there in the comments, but I have yet to be able to think of one, and I've been thinking on it for quite a while. However, the action on this thing is very good. The lockup is very solid. Centering is very good. Let's move on to ergonomics. Or no, we'll get it in the pocket first. Getting this guy in the pocket, we have this pocket clip here. It's kind of short, but it's kind of tall. Got a nice ramp on it. And it goes down in the Levi's quite nicely. And it's deep enough. It's not terribly deep as far as the knife is concerned, but the pocket clip is deep enough that I did carry it for a couple of days, and it doesn't seem to want to do all those freaky things that some knives do, you know, bending out of your pocket or getting caught and flipped out of your pocket, those sorts of things. So, you know, the pocket clip gets a good rating, especially because it's plenty deep. That I did not do this, but I think you should be able to put it in just about any sort of pants, short of those rigged pants that have the leather thing over the area for the knife. I don't know if you could get it in those or not. But anyhow, moving on to ergonomics. Now, you guys know that I like knives with simple ergonomics. Okay, I do. But this guy has taken it to the extreme. We have a Quaken-ish design here with no guard to keep you from running your hand up on the blade. Don't like that. They put this jimping right here and there on the other side of the blade, and that, I suppose, is supposed to be your grip. Well, it's not completely ineffective, but it's pretty close in my opinion. And I just don't care for it. Flipping, well, let's do this stuff. You know, is it going to work? Yes, it's going to work. However, this is not a knife that you want to be out there trying to take care of that nasty box that comes around the corner when you're on your way home from the gym late at night. It's just not that knife. This knife is not going to be good for you because of no effective method to keep you from running your hand up on the blade whatsoever. So that bugs me, the absolute simplicity of the handle. While normally I like that, I'm not here. Even Lion Steel with our round head, they were thoughtful enough to give us a little bit right here. And that little bit is effective enough that even though it's a slip joint, and you guys know I didn't like the softness of their back spring, but in a pinch, this one can be used to take care of that box. It's not the best tool in the toolbox for sure, but it could be done more safely than you could with the Kizer Fiest. And that's, you guys know, that's one of my major complaints with modern folding knives. Almost everybody gets it right, but this one kind of failed on. Now, something we didn't talk about is the action, and the action is actually great with your right hand. Now, there's no tip up left hand carry, so right-handed, it's great. Left-handed, it's this, you got to do this slow thing. Yeah, you don't, I've done it a few times and got it to flip out. The problem is there's absolutely nothing on these slick scales for your left hand to hold on to. For your right hand, you've got the pocket clip to get your hand around so that you can flip it out. And I didn't do a very good job of flipping it out, did I? There you go. But left-handed, you're left out in the cold because everything's slick. So to gather this all up, the Kizer Fiest is not the knife for me. It falls in that weird place where the knife itself is too plain. And you know, I generally like somewhat plain things, but not here. This is plain to the extreme. The only little jewel you've got is that pivot, and everything else is just super plain. I know many of you like that. I'm just not a big fan of the plain. The blade, though, is a major highlight. They have done a beautiful, beautiful job there. Love that blade. I just wish it was in a different knife. The fact that we don't have anything to keep you from running up on the blade, that's a problem. Sharpening choil, not a problem. They've done a great job there. So, overall, this is a knife that I will not buy. I appreciate Stazza sending it up and getting a look at it. And this guy could be a beautiful, beautiful flipper. Do something, just a little bit of something on the handles. Get rid of that front flipper or leave it on there, I don't care. But give me a flipper tab so that whenever I flip this guy open, I've got something to keep me from running up here. And give me some kind of texture on this handle. And yeah, I'm all over this guy. But the way it sits, the Kizer Fiest, is just not for me. It may be the greatest knife in the world for you, but I'm not having it. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with me for a few minutes. This has been the Kizer Fiest. It's a neat little knife. It's just not one for me. Maybe it's the greatest knife in the world for you. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.